As is clear by the way the series is marketed and stylized, the audience for these games is clearly for children. You know, children like these, fun-loving and impressionable children. So, why are some battles just really hard? Now, I know that most battles in RPGs in general can be really easy if you just grind levels and quite hard if you don't grind levels, but these are some battles that in most games when I just play through it without being super under or over leveled, they're pretty damn hard. I'm not sure what else needs to be explained here other than that these are just story battles, no stuff from Battle Towers, Battle Frontier, or Battle Maison. Let's just talk about some hard battles. Whitney. Whitney. Oh, you are infamous in the Pokemon community. And like Red, your fame is a little unwarranted. In Soul Silver, her Miltank was nothing to my Steelix. And when I replay Gold, I beat her Miltank quite easy with a frickin' Execute. But I must say, I understood the frustration people have with her when I did a Poison Monotype run of Heart Gold. Her Miltank destroyed me. Its rollout building over time really leaves you up shit creek if you can't deal with it fast enough. And that Milt drink to heal itself on top of that? Be prepared for hell. Sure, there are easy counters you can get, but if you choose not to use them, this Miltank can be a real pain to deal with. And a Clefairy with Metronome that can literally be any attack can spell easy trouble for you if you're unlucky. And the team I had in the Poison type run I did was Bellsprout, Zubat, Ghastly, and Tentacool. Not a fantastic set to work with. With that team, I only won with luck, getting Clefairy to use Sunny Day with Metronome to activate Bellsprout's Chlorophyll to get a Sleep Powder on Miltank, then switching around to inflict Confusion and Curse on it, then surviving the onslaught until Curse killed it. A proud victory for my Poison types. So yeah, Whitney with the right Pokemon or setup really isn't too difficult, but if you're a first timer with no strategy or challenging yourself, she can be a massive difficulty spike from Faulkner and Bugsy. Not much else other than that. Let's keep rolling on. In last week's video, I mentioned that I utterly adored the battle with Cynthia, saying it's one of my favorite champion battles in the series, but I said something else about it as well. What was it? Alright, Cynthia's really hard! Out of all the champions in the series, I always have the most trouble with her out of all of them. I went over her entire team the last countdown, but I'll read them off quickly. Spiritomb, bulky special attacker with no weaknesses. Roserade, fantastic in special offense and defense. Milotic, bulky water type with move diversity and frickin' Miracle for pesky electric and grass types. Lucario, hard-hitting mix attacker with priority moves. Either bulky Gastrodon or bulky Togekiss, all with great attacking capability as well. All topped off with one of the series' best sweepers, Garchomp, with high speed and attack that can surprisingly take a hit well from my experience. All of our team plays off each other fantastically, easily able to counter each other's weaknesses and deal out hefty amounts of damage, while also being able to take hefty amounts of damage, and that Garchomp is the stuff of frickin' nightmares. You need a good selection of Pokemon with plenty of move variety, and then train them up a lot to take her down. But while Cynthia was always hard, I never had to reset and try again or go off and grind after losing. I was always able to beat her on a first attempt. Easily the hardest champion for me, but nothing reset or try again worthy. A hard but very satisfying battle. Everybody talks about Whitney from the Johto games. You know what I think? Claire was always a lot harder. Why does nobody talk about her? In every playthrough of any Johto game, Claire's given me trouble. For one, she's a Dragon-type cheerleader, in a game where there were only 2 Dragon-type evolution lines. Fine for her, but not so great for you, since you can't get a Dragon-type easily. There are some Ice-types in Johto to deal with her crap ton of Dragonairs, and in Heart Gold Soul Silver there are a number of Electric-types that can deal with her Gyarados, but they're not the problem. This thing is her goddamn Kingdra. Being a Water Dragon type, it only has one weakness, Dragon. But good luck finding those because the only 2 you can get are Horsea for your own Kingdra in the Whirl Islands, and a Dratini. Good luck getting one of those in time to battle Claire. So there's almost no way to have the type advantage here. And on top of that, depending on generation, Kingdra comes packed with Surf or Hydro Pump, Dragon Breath or Dragon Pulse, and Hyper Beam. All moves that can lay heavy damage against nearly every opponent. And to make matters worse, she can crank up the difficulty thanks to it also knowing Smokescreen, lowering your Pokemon's accuracy so it can just wreck the shot with you while you can't attack it. I mean, Jesus Christ! Screw Whitney, Claire is the most difficult trainer in Johto. Whitney was a spike from the other gym leaders, but with a counter, you can win. No such luck here. Screw you and your dumbass Kingdra, Claire. Norman, like I said last week, is my favorite gym leader in the series. But he's a hard as hell gym leader as well. Man, why are normal type gym leaders always so strong? Whether you play the original Hoenn games or the remakes, he is a powerhouse of the most epic proportions, with Emerald in particular having him with a Spinda that loves to make you hit yourself with confusion and comes with Psybeam to deal with fighting types, and an incredibly fast Lanoon with Belly Drum to boost its attacking capability. His slacking in any game is absolutely brutal. Considering he's a Pokemon that has a 670 base stat total, 10 lower than Mewtwo, with a whopping 160 base attack and a surprising 100 base speed, this thing will tear you to shreds. I have never gone through this gym without at least a few of my Pokemon fainting. And he differs from game to game with the gym's signature move, in Generation 3 making sure you don't give this thing a status condition in fear of a double powered Facade, or in Gen 6 being prepared for a double power Retaliate if you knocked one of his Pokemon out last turn. On top of these killer signature moves, his very slacking comes packed with various other deadly and painful moves, like Feint Attack, Slack Off, Encore, Yawn, Counter, Swagger, and Chip Away. This is one of those fights where there should be absolutely no shame in losing. This is a huge spike of a difficulty curve, especially considering how this battle comes pretty much right after the last gym battle with Flannery. But at least his Slackings have a critical weakness in their Truant ability, which on occasion has allowed me to beat his strongest Pokemon with the likes of Aron and Trapinch, exploiting game design! Another gym leader I never hear about. Any of you remember Fantina, particularly Fantina in Pokemon Platinum? I do. I do because I hate her with a burning passion. Why? Well, the preliminary fact is that she is a cocky, arrogant Frenchwoman with a huge ego, but more importantly because her Mismagius is way too strong for this point in the game. In nearly every playthrough I've done of Platinum, this goddamn Mismagius manages to effortlessly one-shot many of my Pokemon before I even have a chance to attack. It's pretty damn fast and even comes packing Shadow Ball, which is way too powerful a move for a third gym leader to have, as well as Psybeam and Magical Leaf for coverage, and even Confuse Ray. Yeah, she wasn't annoying enough! I've always needed to come at this thing with a combined assault by multiple Pokemon, just to take it down. She also comes packed with a bulky Duskull with Will-O-Wisp, Future Sight, Shadow Sneak, and Pursuit, as well as a fast annoying Haunter with Shadow Claw, Sucker Punch, Confused Ray, and Hypnosis. I know that people complained about Morty in Gold and Silver, but Fantina has always been the way worse offender in terms of Ghost-type gym leaders. And another thing, imagine doing this whole gym leader with only Ghost types yourself. It's a goddamn nightmare! Especially after using my Rotom and managing to set up 6 double teams on our Duskull, then our Mismagius comes out and lands a Shadow Ball anyway, and one hit kills me! Just my bullshit luck. I had to reset and retry with so many different strategies between my 3 Pokemon until I somehow managed to beat her. Just screw this gym leader. I hate battling her every time with her OP as hell Mismagius and obnoxious attitude. I hope you rot in hell. Well, the final gym leader on this list. Someone who, in my eyes, is worse than the infamy of Whitney and the destructive power of Norman. It's Juan from Emerald. Oh, this guy is a pain in the ass. Typically for me, Water has always seemed like one of the best types in the series, most of them being able to be utilized on any team with great stat diversity and move pools, which makes them quite hard to take down when a gym leader uses, especially Juan. While most of his team isn't anything spectacularly difficult, his Love Disc being fast and able to use Sweet Kiss and Attract to hamper your team, a Whiscash to deal with those electric types you might have with you, a Celio that can lock you with Encore and paralyze you with Body Slam, and a Crawdaunt that's honestly the least of your worries. But Juan's main Pokemon is the main threat, which is a... oh god, you've got to be fucking kidding me, another one of these? Really? Come on. Yup, just like Claire, Juan has his own pain-in-the-ass Kingdra. And it's even worse. While Claire's Kingdra has Smokescreen to lower your accuracy, which you could just switch out to deal with, Juan's Kingdra has Double Team, meaning that it can make it so none of your Pokemon can hit it. And unlike lowered accuracy on your team, there's no easy way to get rid of evasiveness boosts on Kingdra, so good luck there. To add insult to injury, as soon as you manage to deal hits and get its health low, he uses rest and gets all of his health back! Any battle was a test of your goddamn patience, it would be this one. Being trapped in a situation where he can barrage you with Water Pulse and Ice Beam all he wants while you can't lay a single hit on him, and any attack you do land can be healed almost instantly. Unless you have moves like Swift, Feint Attack, or Aerial Ace, be prepared for a long and painful battle. God, I hate Kingdras being used against me. The final battle with N, like I've said, is my favourite battle from the Pokemon series, and I don't feel like I have to elaborate on this again. But the thing is, N is not the final character you face in Black and White before the credits. Instead, you fight what I think is the hardest battle in the main series handhelds. The real puppet master of Team Plasma, the true villain of the Unova games, and N's adopted father, Ghetsis. Good lord, this fight is infamous. Even when all my Pokemon were 3 levels higher than him, and I had a freaking legendary dragon on my team, this guy is utterly savage. He doesn't have any bullshit strategies like Claire and Juan, his Pokemon are just brutally strong and resilient. I mean, Jesus, this fight! Bring your healing items because, God, this fight! His Cofagrigus is fantastic at stalling with poisoning you, then wearing you down with attacks and protecting itself from damage. His Bouffalant has the insanely hard-hitting Head Charge, as well as Earthquake and Wild Charge, as well as a nasty surprise with Poison Jab. Seismitoad isn't too much of a problem if you have a Grass type or Grass type move, otherwise you'll be getting a mix of Muddy Water, Earthquake, and Sludge Wave. Bishop also isn't too much of a problem, that can deal insanely high amounts of damage with Night Slash, Stone Edge, X-Scissor, and even a surprise with Metal Burst. And all of you remember his 2 most infamous Pokemon, the most deadly members of his team. First, his Electros, a Pokemon with no weaknesses with the moves you'd expect, such as Wild Charge and Crunch, but the terror comes from the moves you never expect from a thing like this, such as its Flamethrower and Acrobatics, both high damaging moves that are designed to catch you off guard and make you cry when your Pokemon go bye-bye to stuff you'd never see coming. And finally, his Hydreigon. Oh my, this Hydreigon. This thing is the stuff of nightmares. This thing has a tendency to outspeed most of the opposition, and while having a Stab Dragon Pulse from a base 125 special attack stat, the terror of this thing comes from its insane coverage. With a selection of moves like Fire Blast, Focus Blast, and Surf, it has the capability of dealing with nearly any opponent. Facing Ghetsis is a really terrifying experience from his sheer power. He doesn't utilize any cheap and annoying strategies or any other luck-based stuff. He uses pure, unrestrained power, and he gets the job done. But there are 3 more entries to go. You know what it's time for? The more obscure Pokemon games, the GameCube Pokemon games. These games, in my opinion at least, are considerably harder than the main series, since every battle is a double battle, and the incentive is for you to understand strategies in terms of construction and countering. So like, every important battle in this game has an air of difficulty. With that, I introduce both Ardos and Eldes from XD. These 2 are the final admins of the game before the final boss, and instead of picking one, I have to pick both because they make me split goddamn hairs. Let's kick this off with Ardos. He comes with 3 non-shadow Pokemon, an insanely fast and powerful Alakazam with all the elemental punches, a Heracross that's as tough as you'd expect it to be, and another fucking one of these! They're all tough customers, but it's his shadow Pokemon that are really a problem. For those that don't know, they made it so in only Pokemon XD that all Shadow Pokemon have Shadow-type moves that are super effective against all non-Shadow Pokemon. So, if you don't have Shadow Pokemon with you, every single member of your team is at a tight disadvantage against them. Ardos in particular, having a fast as hell Shadow Swallow with a move that can cut half the HP of all Pokemon on the field, a Shadow Electabuzz that can rip you apart, and a frickin' Shadow Snorlax with one of the hardest hitting Shadow moves, Shadow End, and also has leftovers to heal himself. And remember, these tough Shadow Pokemon that can tear your team apart aren't meant to be knocked out. You're meant to catch them. So you have to sit there throwing balls at this Pokemon while his team tears you apart and inadvertently damage themselves in the process. It's a fun time, ladies and gentlemen. And now, on to Eldiz. He only has 2 regular Pokemon, a Ninjask that can only really get faster and use Dig to annoy you, and a Flygon that's actually kinda threatening. But in exchange for only having 2 regular Pokemon, he has 4 Shadow Pokemon. A fast and powerful Shadow Manectric, a ludicrously powerful Shadow Marowak with a thick club, an annoying and bulky Shadow Lapras that can hit both Pokemon at the same time, and a frickin' Shadow Salamence that can utterly wreck your team with little effort. And like Ardos, you gotta catch all 4 of his Shadow Pokemon. For both Ardos and Eldiz, their Pokemon are quite high leveled compared to what your levels will be with a rounded team, and a lot of their Pokemon like Snorlax and Salamence have pretty damn low catch rates. So all I can say battling them is good frickin' luck, cause you are going to need it. I'm gonna hate getting to these guys. If any of you have gone all the way through Colosseum, you know about this guy. It's fucking Evis, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it gives you an idea how unfairly tough this battle is, what I have to grind for 5 hours to be 7 levels lower than him. The level jump here is absolutely absurd, but if you think the level jump is all there is and just requires several hours of grinding to win, believe me, you are horribly mistaken. Like Ghetsis, Evis here is unbelievably brutal. In every case of me playing this game, I grind for hours, and I can still only just barely manage to defeat him. His team is just unfair. That is the word to describe this battle. Unfair. Let's list off his Pokemon and strategies. A Salamence that can lower the attack stat of both your Pokemon on the field and comes packing Dragon Dance to boost its speed and attacking power with the moves Double Edge, Aerial Ace, and Dragon Claw. A Scizor, a Pokemon with only one weakness that packs Metal Claw and Silver Wind. While not too hard hitting, has a chance of raising his stats, with the plan of getting buffs from those moves and Sword Stance to finally ban pass all those stat buffs to another member of his team. I'm a Champ, with Bulk Up to buff its attack and defense, then using moves like Rock Slide and Earthquake to hit both your Pokemon, and really laying the smackdown on a single target with Cross Chop. These next 2 Pokemon go together, and they are honestly the most terrifying combo on his team. A Slaking and a Slowking. Typically, Slakings are kept from being OP due to their Truant ability, only letting them move once every 2 turns. Well, I hope you're ready to shit your pants, as Slowking will use Skill Swap to swap their abilities, giving Slaking an immunity to being confused and allows it to attack every single turn, with Crush Claw, Aerial Ace, and Earthquake, and if he's in the mood, can use Bulk Up to have the same strength as Machamp. While Slowking inherits the move only once every 2 turns curse, it can be very resilient and comes packing Water Pulse, Psychic, and Shadow Ball. And to round it all off, a Shadow Tyranitar with a massive mixed movesets of Thunder, Blizzard, Rock Slide, and Shadow Rush, and its ability to summon a Sandstorm, damaging your team every single turn. And you heard me right, Tyranitar's a Shadow Pokemon, meaning you have to catch it. Oh joyous day, oh Pokemon nerds of the internet! This whole battle is absolutely ludicrous. You can spend hours training up your Pokemon, and it's still not enough due to his utterly destructive Pokemon and his strategies that are incredibly difficult to counter and deal with considering Colosseum's limited selection of Pokemon. But for as insanely brutal as he is, I never actually lost to him. It was a massive struggle, sure, but I overcame him every time. Our number 1 contender, however, is the most ludicrous of them all. This is a boss I gave a mention to in my most tedious segments in games list, and now he's getting a whole entry to himself. the final boss of XD, Greevil. Taking into account everything you know about the GameCube games, with the capturing trainers Pokemon mechanic, as well as XD's exclusive mechanic of all Shadow Pokemon having the type advantage over all non-Shadow Pokemon, and you have the most difficult final battle in Pokemon history. Greevil's entire team are Shadow Pokemon, all 6 of them, and the intention being for you to catch every single one of them. And the incredibly powerful team he has assembled include a Rhydon, an Executor, a Tauros, and all 3 of the legendary birds, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. Oh yeah, baby! On top of catching 3 Pokemon that are decently tough to catch each, you have to catch 3 legendaries in a single battle, with the same low catch rate as you'd expect from a single legendary. The absurdity of this gets to me every time I battle Greevil. As well as the difficulty in catching them, they can utterly decimate and flatten your team with some of the most crazy movesets that only Shadow Pokemon can have. Let me give you some examples of these OP as hell moves. A Shadow Weather condition that damages all non-Shadow Pokemon. A Shadow version of Mean Look that affects both your Pokemon. A Shadow version of Confuse Ray that hits both your Pokemon. Moves that can lower stats like Evasiveness and Defense by 2 stages on both your Pokemon. The legendary birds having respective elemental shadow moves that can inflict burn, paralysis, and the frozen condition on your Pokemon. And all of his Pokemon have insanely hard-hitting moves that can not only sometimes KO your Pokemon in a one hit and attack both your Pokemon, but also deal recoil damage to themselves, making dealing damage just to weaken them a really risky move. With such a powerful team and so many moves that would be banned from every single competitive tournament if they weren't XD exclusive, defeating all his Pokemon is brutally difficult. But just remember that that's not the objective of this battle. You are meant to catch them all, meaning that your Pokemon have to almost be hand-picked from the start of the game to be resilient enough and have enough support capabilities to survive his barrage of endless powerful attacks and combinations to succeed in catching all of his Pokemon. The only comfort in this battle is that you can defeat his Pokemon if you are really struggling and rematch him to catch the ones you didn't catch, if you don't mind watching the ending and credits every single time. But from the design, the intention is for you to catch them all in one go, and that concept, while not impossible, is absolutely insane. I'm the Speedster, and we'll have some fun when I get to Greevil. So much fun.